So we've got our module set up. We've got our home page. We've even created some of our content or brought some content in from the course commons. There are some other few steps that we need to take before we can push our course out there to the world. And one of those steps is that we actually need to set up our general course pages. Now, this doesn't have to be step 16. You can do this as step 2 if you like, before you even do your home page. But these do need to be done. And so let's look at what some of those pages could be. And I'll show you some, but there's definitely some more that I'm not thinking of that you can come up with as you think of how your course runs in the real world and how you'll translate that to online. So there are a couple that you have to create, and those are those icon ones, the course overview and the get help. Now remember, the course overview is that syllabus type page. And so just clicking here, and again, this is just some dummy text, and this is another way you can prettify or simplify your, or make it easy to read. Sorry, I'm losing my thought here. This is just a single cell table that has a background color. Okay, great. It's breaking up the content. But anyway, so your class overview. What are the main expectations of your course? Okay, and you're probably not going to be able to blanket use the one that you use usually for in-class learning. You're going to have to edit it. What are your distance learning expectations? Okay, in here you could have your class schedule, and what I mean by class schedule is I don't mean the periods, but what does a period look like? Async versus sync. We're going to all meet up for 20 minutes at the beginning of the period, and then you're going to do sync time, async time after that. Or you're going to come and watch a video, do some reading, and then you're going to do the sync time at the end. There's many different models, and so just think about what your model is going to be. Whatever your model is, you should try to stick with it most often, and don't change it if you can, just because it's going to mess up your students. They need to be able to expect things, especially when they can't just walk into your classroom. But what is your class overview? What are some of your rules? Okay, and so just like you have rules in your class, you need to have rules for your or expectations, maybe, or guidelines, however you want to phrase that. What are your rules for your online class? These could be discussion rules, like how do you actually participate in a discussion in an appropriate way. These could be just talking a little bit about behavior stuff, like, hey, when you were doing a Zoom chat, this is what I expect. Zoom guidelines, and there's some good resources floating around out there that you can find, and maybe as a district we'll put something out. And so what is your overview of your class? And then obviously, what are your main units and topics that you're going to discuss in this class? What's your grading policy? Okay, and yes, we have the district grading policy, particularly during distance learning, that needs to be on this page so that they know what does an A mean, what does a pass mean, what do they do if they can't make it to class for that sync time. That belongs here. Okay, that they can review the recording. What does attendance mean? All these things will be, in district documents and stuff, but having them on your course overview is going to reinforce that for them. So course overview, that basic syllabus idea. Another one of the basic pages that you need to create is the get help. So how do they get help? First off, throw in your name and email address. Don't assume that they know your name just because they're assigned to the course. They may not know how to find it. It's okay to put your name. Put a photo in here as well. Do you want to put that welcome video at the top as well? Whatever works. Do you have some other contact information? Do you have your own website that you run? What's your school telephone, which isn't as applicable now, so you probably don't want to give your cell phone number out there. But how are they going to get a hold of you? Basically, what is the method that you prefer? Is it using the inbox function inside of Canvas? Is it emailing you directly? So on and so forth. And then putting some helpful links to other things that they could use. For example, before you turn in your page, throw it into Grammarly. Okay, so maybe you have a Grammarly link so that they can check their paper before they turn it in. What are some of those common questions that you expect to hear? Throw them on here that they can go in and self-help. And update this page throughout the year or throughout the term so that as you get those common questions, you can just say, hey, there it is. In the same way that we would have posters and stuff in our rooms that say, oh, these are our norms, these are our expectations. Those are the things that you want to have here so that you can point students to it, particularly when they are not following the norms. And you can say, hey, these are our class expectations. Here's the page that you need to go and read. Okay. So those are two of the general documents that you should create, but there are more that you should consider. And so here I just had, like I said in another video, I have I tend to keep a class general information module at the top of my modules, just so that it's right there every time. One for parent resources. Are there some specific things that parents need to know? Again, you could choose not to have a schedule inside of the class overview page. You can actually break that out into its own page. Particularly if that overview page is getting too long, can you break it out? What are your discussion guidelines? Just really think about those general documents that you want to create and get those created. Okay, there we go.